Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back. The only podcast that's intercontinental when we eat French toast. So let's go. Let's go, fellas. Let's finish season one, that 52nd episode, and we got some stuff to talk about. The road to WrestleMania. We did it last year, started with the Super Bowl. We're going to finish this year with the Super Bowl. So let's get into it, fellas. We're missing, wait, before we going further, we're missing somebody. Who are we missing? Who are we missing? Thomas?
Mr. 49er himself.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Yeah, I think he's feeling the pressure of the Niners, maybe not showing up tomorrow.
Yeah, he can't hack it.
Can't hack it. So we'll see. We'll have to chirp him next week when he comes back on. But he'll probably watch the podcast as soon as I post it. Who knows? So, Chris, if you're watching, yeah, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. So, words to live by.
It is fun.
So let's talk to the guy with the gargoyle on his head. And take it from here. This is your segment.
Well, it's an alligator, you know. It is Mardi Gras time. There is a parade going on. So
usually, that's the first time you've had an alligator on your head, and it hasn't been a crab. Take it away, sir.
All right. Guess what? This email is brought to you by goonguard.com. Check them out. Use the promo code 1973. Check them out right here. It sets up in less than 10 seconds in the microwave. Good stuff. You can actually talk with them. You know, maybe one time I actually need to do one of these emails for one of these things here. I probably should do that, huh? All right. This one right here. This is from James from Flemingsburg, Sweden. Man, we're going continental now. We're going across the pond. Can you believe
Thomas,
it?
keep that in mind.
You know? So this question is coming in. It says from James, hello, gentlemen. How can aspiring podcasters effectively grow their channel and audience? Are there specific strategy platforms or content approaches that you recommend for increasing visibility and engagement in competitive podcasting landscape? And P.S. How come you never reveal the picture of the, in quotation figures, OnlyFans modeling your gear? Got to give the people what they want. Gentlemen? Thank you, James.
Really appreciate the email. So it's pretty in-depth. Let me hit the PS first. I don't think it's right to post anything that we appreciate. That's it's supposed to be private. I think that's somebody's permission to share their stuff, and it's not up to us. It has to be given us permission. We would share. I think a lot of people would enjoy it. Probably spark a little bit more maybe stuff to talk about, but we cannot post stuff unless somebody allows us to. So with that being said, major question about the podcast. Tom, what do you think about growing the podcast? I find it's not as easy as people make it out to be.
No, it's got to be the things I've noticed is you have to be consistent. You have to put out an episode every week just to be, and just keep pounding at it. Just got to be consistent. You got to be patient. You're not going to get the ton of views right off the bat. And if you, I mean, not to say you can't, but you just have to be patient, because some weeks you're going to have 25 views and some weeks you're going to have a couple thousand, which it's happened to us. And you got to put yourself on as many platforms as possible. Pandora, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube. I mean, there's a ton of them. You just got to put a lot of work in it. It's not easy. I mean, I know how much, Andy, you've done a lot of the work, so you've done a ton of it. So you could probably answer this better than any of us.
I think it's tough because in order to get anything monetized where you have generate money coming in, it's really hard to half-ass it. You have to really be all in, and the people that you're all in with also have to be on the same page with you as far as talking about whatever you're into. Find like-minded individuals and find a subject that you really know a lot about, and don't try to deviate from that. And especially if you have an eclectic view on that, whether if it's an entertainment view, if it's a sports view, stay within your genre. Don't try to venture out, and keep your content no longer than every other week without missing an episode. I think weekly or bi-weekly, monthly doesn't cut it. I think you have to really grind it out and stay relevant, getting people to want to come on and hear your opinion on stuff, and maybe it'll lead to emails like we have. And I think the audio feed has really taken off for us. So my thing is be consistent. Don't expect to get rich overnight, and surround yourself with the like-minded people that are willing to just spend a half an hour with you every week and just shoot the shit with you and whatever. And Tom, speaking of international, you want to mention our analytics on where people have downloaded. Now, this is strictly from the audio feeds. This is not a YouTube, but I'm sure that there's been a lot of downloads from different places on YouTube. But where have you done a deep dive with Tom?
We've done the deep dive on the website, and that we have that gives the analytics, and it's remarkable where we've got, and we've got viewers and downloads on 5 of the 7 continents. Africa, Antarctica, you got to step up your game because you're the only 2 that are missing. But internationally, it's crazy. I mean, we've had downloads from Belgium, Paris, Russia, Singapore, all over Germany, Sweden, Ukraine, Japan, India, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, and all over US and Canada. I mean, it's crazy. And what I want to do is make it a little more interactive. And what we plan on doing is putting a not really a poll, but putting something on our Facebook page. And we want to know where you're watching the show from and how you heard about us. So we want you to comment on that, or you can even go on the YouTube page and comment after we post this episode, and just comment and tell us where you are and how you heard about us.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, you'd be amazed. Go ahead, Ed. I see you chiming in.
No, I was just going to say too, just to kind of circle back on the content part, not so much on the nuts and bolts, but I think, Andy, Tom, Brad, myself, we all do a pretty good job of actually doing a little bit of research before we actually sit down with each other about topics and that type of thing. So we're not sitting there saying like the whole time. I mean, we actually come to you with actually real stats and real figures and that type of thing, and real facts, and that really makes a huge difference.
Yeah. The thing that we try to do is I'm going to try to stick with a format where once the NFL starts, we go into the picks. We try to stay relevant more with the wrestling. We kind of got away from it because of time restraints. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We got our homework to do. Still watch the Iron Claw movie. We haven't had a chance to do that. I haven't had a chance. We got to do a deep dive for that.
Well, dude, they pulled that out of the theater locally.
Yeah. So I mean, it should be streaming pretty soon. Maybe you guys can check it out or whatever.
Yeah, me and Ed will have a streaming party.
There you go.
Pants optional.
Yeah, that's true.
Pants optional.
Brad's going to catch up on his Dark Side of the Ring history so we can start talking about that. The new season of Dark Side, we're going to cover that all the way to WrestleMania. We'll be all over that. The Vince McMahon saga, we're on to that. Speaking of that, let's segue into that. The latest with the Vince McMahon saga. Brad, you want to bring us up to speed with the little stories here and there?
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, we're in full Mardi Gras swing down here on the Gulf Coast. I did have to show my dick a lot of times to get these beads. So many times, in fact, that they actually started calling me Vince McMahon. So, heyo. Damn,
Right
Tom,
there.
not even a smile there?
Right. No. Oh, no. There's a lot of people nervous right now.
The legal team cleared it, fellas. I can make all the Vince McMahon jokes I want. Okay?
There you go. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So
to a better guy,
the
it
big
never
story
happened.
is how do you pronounce her name? Ashley Massaro.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was sexually assaulted on a USO tour overseas. It was a military doctor. I read the NCIS even went in and investigated this guy. After the way after the fact. And I guess from their perspective, there wasn't, any charges pressed or anything like that. But the story here is that WWE, Vince McMahon, and the leadership didn't know or knew about it, didn't do anything about it. didn't protect her, didn't offer her resources, didn't give her any kind of care after the fact, nothing. And sadly, she wound up, taking her own life, years later down the road. So very unfortunate. And then so Laurinaitis, who's kind of starting to sing on Vince McMahon, had his legal team release a statement just out of the blue saying that they knew all about it. So
And
years of denying it, and she like I said, she committed suicide, she passed away, but now her story is kind of getting validated, corroborated, and it's really unfortunate, but damn, like what else are they covering up?
yeah, two quick things. I forgot when we were doing the timeline when we started this last week, I forgot to mention that Vince McMahon is not Teflon. He did lose 2 cases. Lost one to Jesse Ventura on his rights to Coliseum Home Video, and he had fallen out with Jesse for years. And Jesse was the first guy to sue him when Coliseum Home Video started selling the videos, Best of the WWF Volume 1, blah, blah. And Jesse was on there doing commentary and whatnot. He sued him for his royalty rights and actually won. One of the few guys that did. And the other guy, I don't know the details of the case, but surprisingly, Bill Eadie, who was the Masked Superstar, also Axe from Demolition in 1991, sued Vince. They dragged out for 10 years until 2001 when he won the court case. So there's 2 guys that have had their wins over Vinnie Mac, or Mr. McMahon, as they say. So that's something to be noted. So he does break. It's just it doesn't show too often on the resume. And there was something else that I was reading this week to do with that case, and it was somebody else they had talked to, and they were saying some stuff, but it was all alleged. So it doesn't really stick out in my mind. Tom, did you hear anything this week?
Well, there's another Ashley Mazzaro and Vince McMahon thing is when she after she appeared on the cover of Playboy, she accused him of sexual harassment, and in the affidavit that they have, I guess she said that he kept calling her. He was harassing her, calling her hotel room when they were at the shows wherever they were for their shows. And she went to Kevin Dunn, and this is her allegedly telling the story anyway. She called Kevin Dunn and said that Vince McMahon wouldn't leave her alone, and he told her just not to answer the phone. And I guess when she got to the shows, he suddenly started becoming her own writer and started writing her own thing. And she says her kind of nixing his advances ruined her career. And she said that's when all the storylines that kind of got shady with her started, was because of that, she says. And Paul London, who she dated at the time, was on a podcast this week, and he corroborated everything that came out in the affidavit. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's true or not, but I think you're going to start seeing more and more stuff coming out, because there's another part of the affidavit, and they redacted the name, but she put in the affidavit that there was another female wrestler that had been raped. She didn't say who it was, though, so I don't know who it would be.
I didn't hear that part.
So definitely the plot thickens. It's stuff that I don't know if they're going to try to drag it out because of Vince McMahon's age. 2 quick things. One, both Brock Lesnar related. So the new WWE 2K24 game is coming out this year, and it's the 40 years of WrestleMania. It's supposed to be 200 legends and current wrestlers on there, so it's loaded. It's going to be loaded. Brock Lesnar was on the cover of the deluxe edition. John Cena more in the forefront. He was on there, but they just made his character a little bigger. Will Brock Lesnar still be in the game? I don't know, because there is a showcase mode where you play through the WrestleManias. So stay tuned with that. And my second Brock Lesnar point was people don't remember this. So when Sable left the WWE for good, she filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against the WWE. What happened from that, I don't know. Probably something we could look into this week. But isn't the irony with the whole situation coming back
Yep.
full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah. So
They also removed Brock from the WWE intro for Raw and SmackDown.
there
He's
you
been
go.
replaced by LA Knight.
The thing that's funny about the history and a race in history is I don't think that they should take these guys out of the history. Just don't mention them. Like, how are you going to have people on a streaming network going back and watching the historic stuff? Like I like to go back and rewatch things. You're going to take Jimmy Snooker out. You're going to take now Brock Lesnar out. Well, how are you going to take Vince McMahon out? He was the commentator since I was a kid by ringside. How are you going to take him out? How? It just doesn't make sense to me. If you don't want to mention him or talk about it or say, hey, go back and watch it, fine, but don't erase it. That's just asinine to me. For whatever what he did is, but leave it on there for entertainment purposes, so you can follow a timeline or go back and watch the history of. Brad, The Rock. What is going on with The Rock?
Bro, this is probably the biggest work in WWE history because, and I texted the group chat in this. I can't tell. The lines are so blurred. I don't know if it's really The Rock being heel Rock, which is incredible. I'm here all for it, but I can't tell the difference between where the work ends and like real life starts. Because did you guys watch the press release yesterday? Was it yesterday or Thursday or something? I don't remember. There was a part where the crowd is booing The Rock, and he looked so butthurt. I was like, I don't think he's acting. I think he legitimately came out after he got placed in a TKO, and I think he was expecting his appearance in WrestleMania. He thought he was going to save it. I think he legitimately believed that. And then when the fans started this "We Want Cody" movement, I mean, if you went to any post on The Rock's Instagram or his daughter's Instagram, every other comment was #We Want Cody. It got to the point where The Rock even posted a doctored video to his Insta where he cut out the Cody Rhodes part because he thought it would save him a little bit of harassment, and the fans went in so hard. But at the following SmackDown and I think Monday Night Raws, allegedly WWE was out there giving fans "We Want Cody" signs to hold up on TV. So they were gaming it up, you know. But if you watch that press release, I think he was legitimately butthurt that the fans weren't chanting, you know, "Go Rock" and stuff like that. I mean, this is incredible. This is one of the best storyline, you know, segments I've seen in a long time of wrestling. I'm all here. I don't care who. I want The Rock to win the title. I want Cody Rhodes to win the title.
With Vince McMahon out of the picture, I'm hoping that some way, somehow, the title gets unified and we get rid of these ugly UFC looking WWE belts, all of them. Go ahead, Ed.
This is a quote from the Phantom about this. I talked to the Phantom today about this. And I said, and this is in quotation fingers from the Phantom. They could have Rock beat Rollins and swerve everyone and have Roman beat Cody. Then you would have Rock and Roman both with the world titles. Then work with something with them fighting about who's the real leader down the line for SummerSlam.
Okay. So, couple things. What about if Cody wins somehow? I'll throw a couple scenarios at you.
Cody Crybabies, baby.
You can, yeah.
Cody Crybabies, dude.
I love it.
Hill Rock is the best Rock. Let's be honest.
So what's not to say that Cody some way wins, and as he's having his moment, maybe they let him get the juice out, which would be sweet. Get the juice out a little bit. All of a sudden, he's all busted up. He has his one moment, and then Damian Priest cashes in the Money in the Bank and swerves him, and he doesn't get the title. He has it for a millisecond.
That would be incredible.
It's the Daniel Bryan thing with when he won the belt and then Triple H came out and
Okay. I got one more for you. I don't know how this would play out, but Ed, you got to follow along. So WrestleMania is in Philly. Paul Heyman, ECW, Philly. What happens if Paul Heyman pulls the ultimate swerve in Philly and screws everybody and goes with The Rock? And it's heel Rock and Paul Heyman. And screws everybody in Philly, the ECW home. Or some way, shape, or form that happens.
I love
And
it.
people would be, even though Philly's a heel town, they would be livid. Livid. But we still got an elimination chamber going into it, and they haven't announced anything out of that. So what's not, Tom?
No, I think they had to change everything on the fly with I don't think they expected the buildup that Cody's gotten and all the backlash they've gotten, and they could not go into Philadelphia with The Rock and Roman Reigns as their main event. The fans would, the Philly ECW fans would take it. I mean, Bully Ray Dudley was just talking about this on his podcast a few days ago, and he said you cannot do that. The fans would hijack the whole entire show.
So
They were already hijacking the We Want Cody movement. Like, they had to address it. And if
Cody
you watch
Clive.
that press release, CM Punk was the MVP. I felt like they gave him a mic and they were like, bro, this is where Triple H wins. He was like, just go talk. And he was like, where were y'all at in 2013 where they did it to me? He was like, this is pro wrestling. You don't slap a man like that on TV. He's like, Cody, you need to go beat that ass. I mean, CM Punk was on some shit.
Yeah.
And there, it was completely uncensored and unscripted, man. It was amazing.
So it's amazing how with Vince McMahon out of the picture and having somebody that is a legit, I got to give the devil his due. Triple H grew up a wrestling fan, grew up an old school fan, loves old school wrestling storytelling. If for some way, shape, or form he is removed because of the fallout with Vince McMahon, and let's just say because The Rock is on the board of directors, he does not have that same, I'd hate to use the wrong word, pedigree that Triple H has for old school wrestling. Even though he has a father and a grandfather, which we all know who they are. Saw the bloodline tree, which was really cool. I like that. I actually paused it and tried to zoom in so I could look at everything. There is a wild card in the story because Jacob Fatu is now a free agent. MJF is a free agent. All these things could come into play, not saying MJF, but that could be a major night after WrestleMania pop. Who knows? Not a lot of matches have really been scheduled for WrestleMania, and it's really close. So the plot thickens.
How many weeks away is WrestleMania, Andy?
It's always around the first week of April. Always around the birthday. Yep. So I think it's April. What is it, Tom? Do you remember?
I
April
don't
6th.
remember.
April 6th. Yeah.
I think so.
So
I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. There's a pay-per-view in between, which I don't think there should be. I think the build-up from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania should be one straight shot.
Yeah.
Story, build up, and
then the blow off.
yeah, and then the blow off.
It's funny because people are saying The Rock, tried to save the Fast and Furious franchise and got the boot. He tried to save the DC expanded universe, and Black Adam kind of sucked. If we're being honest, as a superhero movie. Then he tried to save the XFL and it crashed and burned. So a lot of folks are saying like this is like one of his last ditch efforts to try to, be relevant in something in the entertainment industry. So
yeah, it just sometimes if you got a good personality, it doesn't make you a good businessman. Sometimes,
no,
sometimes you're not good at everything you try, and his career is kind of fizzling right now. So maybe that's, sign him going back to the roots, and they need him. I mean, they could use him. I mean, who's not going to tell The Rock to not show up at WrestleMania? I mean, that's money right there.
They do that.
Yeah, nobody's going to say no to that. Yeah.
But isn't it kind of funny how The Rock kind of comes in and does what Hogan used to do in WCW? That ain't gonna work
Yeah.
for me, brother. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's Tom.
The Rock, he's supposedly he's brought in his own writer, his own to write his own whatever storyline is going to be in to put. So he's going to
Triangle
come out
works.
looking good. Yeah, he's going to come out looking good regardless. So
Yeah,
Well, Hogan had Vince though.
yeah.
Hogan and Vince were tight. The Rock is kind of just trying to pull rank essentially, and that's not gonna fly. I mean, I think we're kind of seeing that right now. Like it's just not working.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work for you, Brock or Rock. Either one of you.
No.
So
I do want to say I zoomed in on the that bloodline picture and they included Umaga, which I thought was kind of special because he kind of got wrote off of the WWE universe because he died of an overdose and everything. He got they whitewashed him. So I thought it was really neat that they put him on the bloodline.
yeah, Jimmy
on
Snuka was on there
graphic.
too.
Who was that?
Jimmy Snuka was on there
nice.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they had Tamina and Deuce on there, which was his son also from that awful 50s gimmick that they had there. Deuce and Domino with the roller. Yeah, terrible. Terrible.
They also included Naomi,
yeah,
who's married to Jimmy.
I know that's. Well,
I thought it was cool though.
yeah, she's in the bloodline by way of injection. That's about it.
Yeah.
So you want to tie up the wrestling this week, or Ed? You got anything to add? Spoken like a true wrestling fan. I love it. So we had Kyle Weathers last week. We have Toby Keith this week. So I can't really talk too much on the Toby Keith thing. Not really my musical genre, but maybe one of these fine Southern gentlemen that hates to wear pants maybe can speak on them. Take it away, Bradford.
I mean, I actually have some really cool Toby Keith stories. So my first tour in Iraq, I came home, went and saw him in concert when that red, white, and blue song was popping. You couldn't walk into a Kmart and not hear courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Got backstage, got to meet him, took a picture, got his autograph. He was cool as shit. The next year I was in Iraq again. He came and did a USO tour, free concert for the troops. Got to go to see that. That was really cool. Several years later, I was in Afghanistan. He comes to do another USO tour, and they wanted people to pull security. So I volunteered my off-duty time to do that. And this jabroni, this courtesy of the red, white, and blue American soldier loving ass guy, no-showed us, man. He turned the plane around like midway because it was kind of dangerous and not as safe as they thought, and he booked it back to fucking Kuwait. And I wasted like 6 precious hours of off time that I could have been sleeping. And I've never forgave him for that, but also, RIP, sorry he died.
Tom, Toby Keith, got anything?
Yeah, he's a huge sports fan, so he kind of fit with some of our genre. He was a huge Oklahoma Sooner fan. He's always on the sidelines with JR. Jim Ross and he were always on the sideline at the OU games. And I just got to say, I mean, the guy was sick with cancer. He was dying, and he was still out there in like December, end of December, early January. He's still doing shows. So, I mean, the guy, as much pain as he must have been in, I mean, he was still out there working.
Not that one time in Afghanistan.
Yeah, let it go, bro. It's been years. Let it go, man. Let it go.
Just real quick before we move on, we're gonna probably finish out this episode maybe talking the Super Bowl. But Thomas, this is your part. We're usually midway through the show when we hit you up with the Tom's shitty picks. Finish the year, Tom.
Buy the shirt.
Yeah.
Tom's Shitty Picks is brought to you by Brock Street Brewing Company, located at 244 Brock Street South in Whitby, Ontario. The brewery is home to a banquet hall, an on-site restaurant, and a members-only lounge. Everything they brew is done in-house, including sours, lagers, and vodka soda. They have something for everyone. So if you're in Whitby, go check them out. Tell them 1973 podcast sent you.
Yeah, so that before you do your picks, Tom, then when it says members only, is that like the jackets?
Yeah. No, you have to actually join. You have to spend a little coin.
Okay, which it doesn't work for us. That's not going to work for us, Scotty. Who is the Zoom user?
Don't know.
Oh, I thought one of y'all was doing that.
No, that's not me. I
Are
thought
we
it
getting
was.
hacked by China?
I don't know. Tom, shitty picks. What do you got?
All right. Super Bowl. My Super Bowl pick this week. It's going to be. I'm going to go with two. I'm going with the. My pick itself is going to be Kansas City. I'm going 24-20. My MVP is going to be Isaiah Pacheco. Let me see. I have some stats written down here. 49ers regular season, they gave up 89 yards rushing a game. Playoffs, they've been a sieve. They've been giving up 160 yards rushing a game. So I think Pacheco is going to have a huge game. That's my pick.
There you go. So
Ed?
I'm
Ed, what do you
going
got?
with the 49ers, bro. I'm going 34-31 49ers, man. I had a couple. I got some things I got to say. So, it's funny that everybody's Vegas. So I'm gonna toss this out here. I'm just gonna lay this one out here. I'm gonna drop the
What
button.
the hell is going on?
So, tell me this: Vegas is picking the 49ers. Sports Illustrated has got Chiefs 4-1.
Thomas,
I got nothing to say. You're the prognosticator. You have connections at the casinos, AC. You come on, you got
What they say at the Waffle House?
I don't know. I mean, I'll probably be on in the house some way, shape, or form, or whatever. I don't know. I get this feeling that the fix is in for Kansas City because they just want that whole Disney romance thing, and there's so much money riding on it. I mean, who knows? I mean, you turn around now, and everything that I do for the podcast, sometimes I'll hop around to different things, and it's DraftKings this or Elite Sportsbook, I'm like, I don't even do any of that stuff, and it's all over the place. They can't mention the Super Bowl, so they say the big game, so they can get around it legally. I don't know. I just my spidey sense is tingling. I just think it's going to be Kansas City. Ed, what do you think?
49ers, man.
Bradford?
Brad?
Does the football teams who wins, does that really matter as long as Travis Kelce proposes to Taylor Swift on the 50-yard line? Then we all win. That's all I want to see in this Super Bowl Sunday is true love blossoming in front of everybody. And who was that guy that just called in? Do y'all know that guy?
I didn't see it.
Was that the Phantom? Because I don't know who the Phantom is. I've never seen him. I've never met him.
It didn't pop up on the thing. Did it?
Are you fucking shitting me?
No, I just saw the Zoom user thing come across.
It was like a whole ghost wearing sunglasses thing.
No, it didn't come up on mine. I just saw a Zoom user in black.
You guys are fucking with me.
No,
I've
man.
only had one drink
I
tonight.
can't even see anything. So
what the fuck? I don't know. What the
was
fuck
it Chris?
I don't know who it was. It wasn't. No, not our Chris. It was some guy who like pointed at the camera, and then like this ghost sheep came up wearing sunglasses, and then it went. You guys are fucking with me. You guys saw that shit.
nope. No, sir.
I'm not even high right now. What is going on?
I think Brad's in Afghanistan.
I'm back in Afghanistan. Baby. I'm having
Getting
flashbacks
those
of when
poppies,
Toby
bro,
Keith
in the
stiffed
trailer with
us.
the AC.
So back to the Super Bowl. So Tom, what do you think the outcome is for the whole overall NFL season after this whole thing's done? You think?
I think it's been a total success. Even if this whole thing with Taylor Swift is a work, they've made money. I mean, she's brought money into them.
$331 million.
Yeah. So they're not complaining. So I mean, what's the old saying? Any publicity is good publicity. So there you go. I mean, they're actually tracking her plane flying. She's flying back from Japan right now to get back for the game, and they're actually tracking her plane. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Lucas just brought me one of those homemade Taylor Swift friendship bracelets.
Oh my God.
To actually to tie in with Toby Keith, I believe Taylor Swift was actually he signed her to his record company when he when she first came out. So it's a little.
He discovered Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And thoughts on this year's
did something
Super Bowl, like as far as like the overall setup to it and the Gaga? I got nothing to add with the Super Bowl. I was.
I mean, I can actually talk about factual stuff about the game, but I mean, it seems to me that like, the Esquire seems like he's turned into a Swiftie here,
Do you think? Okay, so if the Chiefs win, regardless of the pharma, all the vaccine commercials they're gonna roll and the Taylor Swift bullshit and how much money she's made the team, regardless of all that, Patrick Mahomes' wife also on the cover of Sports Illustrated. There's like a 99% chance they're gonna win this. Are they the next New England Patriots?
They get one more.
Yes or no?
I think they need to win one more after this to get there. But they actually have the feel this year right here. They have the feeling of the Patriots. The year the Patriots played St. Louis, when St. Louis had that offense. Everybody, to me, people all but the bookies, they expect San Francisco to win this game. So I think this kind of has the feel of back then when the Patriots played them.
Well, I got a couple of things to say.
Let's go, Ed.
All right. Well, first and foremost,
let's go, Ed.
All right. True stats postseason for Mr. Patrick Mahomes. He's 6-0.
Let's go, Ed.
His completion percentage 70%. Okay, 11 TDs, 0 interceptions. How can you dispute that? So he's going to his 4th Super Bowl before he turns 30. There's some other stats, and then so like the thing about it is
how many,
that
it's
going to be this. It's going to be this, right? Not this.
Without getting this.
Without getting that, none of this either, But like the thing about it is like, look, Patrick Mahomes, he learned under Alex Smith for a couple of years. He's got Andy Reid as the coach. How can you not be great? Andy Reid's everywhere he's gone, he's won. He comes from that Green Bay tree with Mike Holmgren. And how can he not?
Who's better, Ed? Real quick. Andy Reid, ready? Or Butch Reid?
I'm gonna have to say, Butch Reed's got the 24-inch guns, but I'm gonna go with the cheeseburger eating guy.
Tom, who's better, Andy Reid or Butch Reid?
Got to go with the chefs, man, Andy Reid. I will give you one more stat. The one thing that could make this game interesting is Brock Purdy's legs. The dude, if they can let him scramble, if they let him run, Shanahan lets him run during the playoffs. The Chiefs are giving up a lot of yards. They're giving up almost 70 yards a game to run to the quarterbacks. Now, granted, it was Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Tua, but they still gave up a lot of yards to and I think that if Shanahan actually takes the reins off him a little bit, it could get interesting.
The regular season, Tom, the Chiefs had some 50 to 60 something drops. Wide receivers had 50 to 60 something drops. So for the Super Bowl, the MVP potentially could be Kadarius Toney if they send his ass on an appointment somewhere. Because in the postseason, they've had less than 5, I think. It's something it's astronomical.
Yep.
Like the team that struggled with drops all season has been playing impeccably well for the postseason, and as far as their receivers catching the ball, and the yards after the catch from their receivers is another pretty impressive number. So I think Kadarius Toney, send that dude down the street, put him on a mission, give him a job somewhere, and as long as he's not on the field, I give that dude the MVP because he was Mr. Dropsies all season.
So, are we wrapping up the Super Bowl talk for the season, or are we gonna save
some more? Look, Isaiah Pacheco, he got 451 playoff rushing yards. I mean, the man runs violent. You can't dispute that. I have like keys for the 49ers to win. I mean, they're going to keep Mahomes in check. They have to stop the run. If they can stop Pacheco, I think they're going to win. If they stop Kelsey, and they have to run the ball effectively, and then game plan McCaffrey. McCaffrey was he touches the ball the most on the run and on the pass. And then Chiefs to win. I mean, run Pacheco. I mean, the thing about it is that through all of the playoffs, to circle back to Tom's point, bottom line is that the 49ers haven't been able to stop the run. Let's see. They need to basically, Chiefs need to win, get the ball to both Kelsey and Rice. Keys to stopping the 49ers to stop McCaffrey, force Brock Purdy to win the game, and then for the offensive line for the Chiefs to stop Joey Bosa. I mean, that would be kind of like the keys to the game for both sides. And the 49ers is just a little bit more of a physical team, but I mean, the Chiefs got Mahomes, and Mahomes he's a bad dude, man. And he is. I saw him live at the beginning of the year in New Orleans in a preseason game, and everybody else looks like they're running in mud, and he looks like he's running, and he's got like the power stick from Madden on PlayStation.
Yeah, and his ability to make a play when the play has broke down and there's nothing there it's uncanny. It's unlike anything I've ever seen in football. So,
I mean, the only thing I would say that could equate to him was like, Michael Vick when Michael first came when he first came to the league, or Randall Cunningham when Randall Cunningham was playing for the Eagles. I mean, was that Harry Carson stick that basically almost cut him in half, and Randall broke it in and scored a touchdown. I mean, that may be a little bit before your time, Brad. Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Pro Bowl?
Ugh,
Why?
no.
Why?
What?
That is the worst All-Star game in any of the All-Star games. That is so bad.
And they're all bad.
Yeah.
Every Pro Bowl year, I skip the Pro Bowl and just go find that Sean Taylor hit on YouTube where he lit up the water.
Yeah.
That's all I need for my Pro Bowl.
Ed,
Yes, sir.
you've blown up a few Pro Bowls in your life. And then forgot to flush.
Hey,
Hey,
So what do you think? Wrap up the Super Bowl talk, wrap this episode up, get the old winding down. Thomas,
Yes.
it's time to pay some bills.
All righty. This week's album of the week is brought to you by Purchase Street Records, located at 53 Popes Island, Unit 2, New Bedford, Mass. You can also visit them online at purchasestreetrecords.com or on their Facebook page. Purchase Street Records is Southern New England's largest independent record store.
Boom. There it is.
Morning, everybody. Had to get here early. We are restocking the store. We've had some crazy days past couple days. This is our soundtrack section now. We literally have probably 300 records here. All just great soundtracks. And kind of hard of the stuff to find. We don't really do a lot of pressings on that stuff. New wave section. This is the punk section if you've never been here before. Hip hop section. Hair metal section. More punk stuff. 7 inches. 90s to current stuff. We're working on a new pop section also to pull all the pop out of this. That way it's easier to find when people come in. More of our classic rock section. Box sets. Jazz stuff. We have our own Taylor Swift section. It just moves. New arrivals. Patches. Shirts. Very low on that. Slayer shirt right now. Jimmy James shirts, we can't give those away. Winter hats. Not much of a winter we're having right now. One of the All Sinners amps that we are selling, $800. The head alone's worth $800. A lot of signed stuff, signed Striper stuff, Kiss stuff, Badlands. Just that Badlands record alone is insane. This is our $20 section. I just refilled it today. Metal CDs. Another Kiss section. We have 2 different Kiss sections. And it sells. Somebody said it didn't sell. I'm like, yeah, okay. This is all more extreme European stuff. Wall Madness, all original stuff. Merciful Fate, Nuclear Assault, King Diamond, Sacred Reich, Sabotage, Trouble, Death, Celtic Frost, you name it. Signed Metal Allegiance stuff. Original Metallica, Iron Maiden, Heaven and Hell, Slipknot, Megadeth, Dio, Priest, more Priest, Anthrax. More of the newer metal stuff, Five Finger Death Punch, the Metal Church, the New Metal Church, the Local Dudes, Metallica, Slayer, Sepultura, Typo Negative. No, but I know somebody that does. All right, hold on one second, man. All right, everybody, we'll see you today. Come down, purchase Street Records.
So before we leave, get some shout outs going. Tomorrow, Super Bowl Sunday. Everybody's going to be watching. Hopefully, they'll watch the podcast before the Super Bowl or laugh at us while they're listening to the Super Bowl or pre-gaming or whatever the hell they're doing tomorrow. Toe hogging, deep sea fishing, whatever the fuck you do.
Man, cohogging, man. Damn. I mean, the water's going to be a little bit chilly for that, man, isn't it?
Get in there. Stop being a bitch.
Stop being a bitch. Come on. Stop being a bitch and come on.
Ed, shout out this week. What do you got?
Well, first and foremost, I'd love to say thank you very much to the Phantom for our delightful conversation that we had this afternoon, for that insightful point that he brought to us. I also want to mention this is just to make one of our sponsors happy, just to make sure that he's aware. This is for you, Scotty. The Celtics record is 40-12. That's all I got.
We got to talk Harlem Globetrotters if we're talking NBA.
Okay.
Right. Shout out.
Well, I want to give a shout out to a man who's probably like my second dad. He had an accident today. Had to go and he's got like 4 or 5 stitches. He had a fall at his home. So get well, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, Big G.
Bradford, what do you got?
I'm gonna give a shout out to my man Lucas, my boy, my 7-year-old. He conquered some pretty big fears and pretty big challenges the other night and got his black belt in Taekwondo. Doesn't sound like much, but he had to spar 1 versus 2 to get that black belt. It's pretty intimidating. I don't know a lot of adults that could handle themselves for a minute and a half, 1 versus 2 people. And he took his licks and he got up, he kept going, man. So super proud of him. Also, I want to shout out Mama AC. Sorry I cussed on this week's podcast. Please forgive me.
So what's funny about that is not only do I get chirps from my mother, I get chirps from my kids that say, Grandma was watching the podcast and she said X, Y, and Z. Or she was listening to the podcast and heard X, Y, and Z. And then when she sees me, she does nothing but go, so where do you know this guy Brad from? And I'm like,
No, don't say that.
I'm like, he's friends with Ed. He likes all the same stuff we like. And then she'll be like, who's this Chris guy? I'm like, do you need like a program every week? Do I have to like submit like when you go to church the minutes or what the pamphlet of what we're following and the hymns and everything in there? Or,
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's all in good fun. One of these times I should get her on here.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And that will be a riot because no filter on that lady. 0 filter.
0.
She will bring up stories that these guys forgot and put them on the spot on blast. And, it would be hilarious. So we'll have to keep that one in mind. We'll have to keep that one in mind, definitely in mind. So shout out this week. My youngest scored her 85th goal of the season. She's almost close to Gretzky's 92. Don't know if we're going to hit it, but 85. Come on, that's first Mazzito territory. That's Mario Lemieux territory. You got to put them in. And she had a pretty epic goal I posted today on Facebook. It splits the D. Falling
How many
down
assists
upstairs.
Tell me she at least has 100 points. She got to have some assists.
No, we don't worry about that. We don't worry. You don't get on the YouTube highlights with assists. The
Gotcha.
assists, the assist years are behind us. We're all about the goals. We're gonna
Mhm.
make it happen. We're like Mary Tyler Moore. We're gonna make it after all. So we're gonna wrap this. What do you say, guys? Wrap this up.
Yep.
Yep.
So we
Thank
can
you,
enjoy
Goon Guard.
Boom Guide, Pro Skater. What else? Purchase Street.
Brock
Spin
Street.
50.
Brock Street, our other friends, Joe Lyons, Spin 350, all these other stuff. Bradford, the Professor, Mouth of the South. We'll see you after the Super Bowl. Later,
Let's
Chris.
go.